Hello, everybody. We're going to go ahead and invite in our audience over here on the Kink Educator. How is everyone doing? Tonight, we're going to be talking about red flags. What is a red flag? Something tells me our times are off because I don't think we even got approved yet. Why is that not showing me? Always an issue at TikTok. Maybe we're not on the right one. I have no idea what's going on. Maybe we didn't get approved. That's happened before where we haven't had something approved. I mean, it's not the end of the day. We can go live without the approval. We're going to try one more time. We should be able to go live right now. It says it's ended. How did it end? I think I put in the wrong time. Okay, we're just going to go live then. I think that was the issue. My error. Let's talk about red flag use. Red flags in use. That'll have to do. Okay, so how's everyone doing? We're just waiting to bring up our screen. Once we have our screen, I got the worst headache today that I just cannot get rid of. Don't you hate that when you have a headache that just won't quit all day? It always reminds me of Die Hard 3. All right, so we're set up. We're ready to go. We're going to turn the camera to look better at me. Hi, everybody. Let's get this up on stage. There we go. Let's have some fun tonight. Let's keep our elbows up. No hitting below the belt. And let's get to this. All right. So we're going to be talking about red flags. I do have other materials that we can bring up tonight, which we are going to do, including bringing an image file for red flags. So this is nothing new for me, at least. So there we go. Add this to the stage. So for those of you who can't see, we're on YouTube right now. We have the red flags on the screen at the moment. So first, let's define what a red flag is. You guys are all welcome to join in and say anything you need to say, want to say, or ask. We're here for it. But in the meantime, we're going to get to identifying what a red flag is. Now, that actually shown on our actual red flag thing today. Hold on. More weird stuff. There it goes. All right. And our previews. So a red flag is generally denoted as something that will likely hurt you. How many is too many? The red flag. Okay, red flags. The more red flags a person has shows the more likely they will hurt you. And it should be harm. I'll have to fix that later. How many is too many is up to you, but 3 or more is trouble for sure. So how many red flags does it? Can hardly see the picture on there. All right, let me see if we can't. Because this is StreamYard, I'm not sure how big we can make it. So let's see if we can't chop it up and give it to you guys there. So a red flag is honestly, it can be anything a person makes it out to be. It does not have to be just this cookie cutter idea of what a red flag is. Because honestly, red flags from person to person are going to be affected by the individuals risk factors, right? So your risk factors are definitely going to play into whether or not this is honestly a red flag or not. So, I mean, I know you guys probably wanted something a little more thorough than that, but there really isn't anything more thorough than that because they are so different. A red flag for one person to another is very different. So, for example, a red flag to me is someone who does any type of drugs. I won't play with anyone who is doing any types of drugs. That is my personal choice. However, there are people who will be like, oh, if someone's stoned, I don't mind playing with them. And that's it. Now, the red flag for that is if someone lies to me about taking something to play with me. It honestly erodes trust immediately. Another red flag for me is a submissive who says they don't have a hard limit. This means they don't understand what we're doing. This can be an issue for me and my safety as a participant in a lifestyle that never sounds great in court. And realistically, it can be very detrimental. Let's see. There we go. Is that better for the audience? We expanded on it. So a red flag is something that you get to choose for yourself a lot of times, and it's not something that someone else can choose for you. Now, in the comment, is it overused? Again, it's all tailored to a human being. I don't think a red flag can be overused if you're using it for your own safety. Some people are going to argue that's not a red flag. That's not. Don't care about what people argue. Now, if people like kind of explain something to you and go, well, you have to understand this or that, and it makes sense, then that's great. But don't be coerced into thinking something's not a red flag. So here are a few red flags I have that I'm going to tell you all, and then I want you guys, the audience, to participate. Let's read out loud. And Kay says to us, that is definitely a red flag, but some submissives haven't met their limits. But you should have sat down and thought, right? If you're a submissive, this is to the whole thing about submissives not knowing their limits or their boundaries. It's really about boundaries, honestly. So everyone knows where they're going to go. Like if I say, you can get really absurd with it. Like, so I can cut a limb off and they'll be like, oh no, you can't do that. And okay, so there's our first boundary. Let's dial it back into more of a reality. Are you okay with permanent scarring? And then they're like, what do you mean? And you're starting the conversation. I would rather, like you just said, Kay, I really don't know enough to have put up boundaries yet. And then I could ask, okay, that makes sense. Would you be into something like golden showers, which of course is urinary play or urine play, not urinary, but urine play. So, and you kind of get a feel for it. And, I used to give the scat as the example, but I realized that could have been kink shaming. It's just the most common one. I never meant it as kink shaming. And a lot of times people's reactions are immediate, but I try to walk away from things like that and try to use even closer grounded ones now, because I think that's so far out. Just having one, well, are you okay being tied so tightly you can barely breathe? And that makes someone think. And some people might be like, I'd like to try it. Okay, so that's something you are there. And some people might be, oh man, that's too constricting. So that's a great point, Kay. Okay, so here's the behaviors that are toxic and dangerous, that are not healthy in relationships. I should have put dynamics. We have to update this. Avoiding seeing red flags will lead you to being hurt. It should be harmed. Okay, they do not respond to texts until much later. Some people feel this is a red flag. Some people do not feel this is a red flag. This is something that's going to be your comfort level in a dynamic. Lying. Here's a big one. Most liars keep lying. If you find out they lied to you, expect it was not the first nor the last time if you don't end it. This is a big one. This is something like if someone is lying to you, you are on a dangerous slope. Of course, some people can argue, well, it depends what they lied about, right? So, I mean, again, season for taste, right? Is this something that bothers you? Isolating you from friends and family, picking who you can speak to or be friends with, that's a big one. A lot of people won't like that. A lot of people don't want to deal with that, and that's understandable. Love bombing. / trying too hard, being too nice and loving too much on social media. This is insecurity showing. It could also just be a neurotypical thing for the record. But when we came up with this list, I had gotten a lot of people involved, and this is what everyone came up with. Doing drugs. We talked about that. Drugs alter who people are. Heavy and consenting drinking is unhealthy. I'm sorry, heavy and constant drinking. So we're going to bring up our next one. And then I think we have 3 of these. So we're going to go to the second. We have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we have 3 of these. So here's our second one. And if you guys have any questions or suggestions about a red flag, please add it to the conversation. Trying to force you or guilt you into doing something you aren't comfortable with. Coercion. We should add coercion to this. And we're going to be going back over these teaching tools and be adding to them. I'll probably even take away a lot of the colors from this, and it's going to be a lot more uniform, I think, in the future, because we're walking away from the comic book format and we want to go more textbook format. Let me know if you guys like the look of it for those of you on the YouTube channel right now. Showing up to places without permission. In other words, they just suddenly show up where you are, and especially if they don't have your location. But even if you give them your location, that's still a bad thing. When someone tries to control your social media is one of those weird things where it is your ability to interact with the world, and someone tries to take that away. It can be a very bad sign. They make demand of not listening to and or respecting your boundaries. That's a big one. Thank you, Kay. Kay said they liked it. They make demands of your times. It should be. There's an error there. Again, some of this is still new and we're working on it. This is something we're going to have to update. They make demands of your time. They are always checking on you and expect you to hang out with them. Like constantly, don't give you your own space. They show you jealousy traits, always jealous of something, and they blame all their exes. Those are almost together. Like those are big things to kind of notice. They avoid answering your questions. Your friends see something off and dangerous about them. That's a big one we often ignore. We think our friends aren't looking out when they really are. They are not open to feedback from you and disregard all of your opinions you offer them. That's not great. They stalk or follow you around. Is that different than showing up in places they shouldn't without permission? Sorta. Like they could show up at like an event and don't tell you and they want to surprise you. That could warrant bigger conversations. That's still red. A lot of people thought so when we created this. They will not be open or talk about your relationship. So they're not giving communication. That's very bad for everyone involved. During play, it becomes clear they lied about their skill level. That's a red flag to really run from. Because if they're lying about their level, you don't know how dangerous they are now because they're not going to tell the truth. They exhibit serious jealousy issues or violent tendencies. And that sounds like the jealousy traits, but these are serious jealousy issues because there are differences. Sometimes some things are insecurity, and some people are willing to work with someone with their insecurity. And insecurity is a lot more common problem than most people realize because a lot of people get fucked over in life. So I do understand it. We're going to go to our last slide. Again, you guys can join us over on YouTube, Kink Educator. We're live right now over there if you can't see the slides. And this is the last slides, and then we'll start taking some questions, some comments, some concerns about red flags and all about it. So if your spidey senses are tingling, trust them. In other words, if you're feeling like something's off, something is more than likely off. They only had experience in short-term relationships. They only had experience short-term relationships. It's usually a bad thing, especially if you're looking for a connection that goes longer. They talk poorly about you and do so in front of you. I mean, I know that can be a kink. Clearly, this is not a kink that we are talking about. We're not talking about being a subject, subjugated, humiliation, and or being made a thing of being objectified. That's not what we're talking about there, of course. They are hot then cold with you and or won't go out in public with you. This is a sign of of cheating, including and the hot and cold, that's when they're available. And when they're not available, they suddenly might get cold with you. Always talking badly about other people in general. Very negative people tend to do very negative things. It's something to be concerned about. And they threaten you or your family if you do not listen to them. If you find yourself in an abusive relationship, by the way, please call 1-800-799-7233. All right. I don't know how to say that. I want to say Quixote, but I don't think that's it. It's talking to us in our YouTube. I would add if they discuss safety during negotiations, if it's not already in there. They don't discuss safety. That would be a negotiation. That's how you would kind of negotiate. I mean, you should be doing negotiations with everyone. Someone who doesn't want to negotiate, I'll definitely agree with you on that. And again, we're going to update this. We're going to probably add a whole new page to it. And a lot of this is back and forth of how relevant it is. Is this really something? Before I publish the next one, I'm going to invite you all. As a matter of fact, this is the beginning of that conversation, right? Inviting people to talk about red flag. Now, for those who don't know, I also suggest using yellow flags in your conversations and green flags. Far too often, we begin to focus on only the negative in people. You got to look at the good and the bad, right? Or you're going to just dispel everyone and cast everyone away. So my suggestion to everyone is to understand the difference between yellow behaviors and green flag behaviors. So on this list in particular that we're showing here tonight, a couple of those you could argue could be a yellow. And again, it's very point of view. So when we go back over this, we'll clearly probably be looking at, well, what is this? And just looking at the screen we have up here, they had only experienced short-term relationships. Well, is that really a red flag for the common people? That's why we're going to go over it, because some people don't mind that. Some people don't mind someone who doesn't want long-term relationships. That's season to taste moment, right? So if you're not looking for a long-term relationship, that might not be a red flag to you at all. And red flags are going to feel very different from user to user. That's for certain. I've had so much Advil today with this damn headache. All right. So who's got questions, suggestions, or want to ask if this behavior is a red flag to everyone, and we'll discuss it together. We're here for it. So let me know in the comments section what you guys are thinking. I'm just going to quickly double check over on our FetLife invitation to make sure that no one is having trouble getting here. You'd be amazed how sometimes people suddenly have an issue getting in, and that's okay. Okay, it looks like we're good. No one's having any trouble. Always great. We don't want that. So who has a question about red flags? Who has anything to ask? If they want something to be something, do you want to ask the group? We can go through it together. Let me know in the comments. Because part of this, we expected participation. Now, if you guys don't have anything, we could bring up other topics as well. I could fill this up a little longer easily, but it's always up to you guys. I will say that, revolution in 60 seconds. Sorry about that. I do think it's very important that we always pay attention to other people. There we go. It is a red flag when your master asks you to do something that is not right to do. All right. Well, I guess you'd have to. What can I ask the follow-up question? What makes it not right? Like if your master asks you to rob a bank, obviously that shouldn't be there. But this also feels like a negotiation moment more than it is a red flag. Now, if you're saying that your master asks you to do something or demands you to do something that you have not negotiated and they do not have the right to ask you, then absolutely a red flag. But if this is something that might fall into their purview and you never really considered what that might mean, then yeah, we might actually have to realize that might not be a red flag and then more of a communication issue that we're facing. And I would need a specific. Oh, I can't even say that out loud. Yeah, that's a red flag. Trying to be really careful with this because I don't even think TikTok would let me say that out. All right, the ask is, and I'll put it on the screen so people can see it on YouTube, so that'll help. So being I know how to put it. Being asked to involve a species that is not your own. Yeah, that's a red flag. Uh, Across the board. I mean, that's not even kink shaming. That's actually illegal. I mean, really illegal. Because, of course, there isn't a species besides humans that can actually consent to things. So we want to be careful of that. And don't worry about it, Kay. It's an interesting question. I just know that if I had phrased it in that way and said it out loud, we would be off of TikTok right now. YouTube might get mad at us later, but sometimes there's a lot more room, shall we say, here on TikTok. So we're going to take that off the screen. Does anyone else have any other questions for us? Next week, we want to do a show. We're going to probably next week's. I'm going to reach out to Alice. The cool for next week, my goal right now is to have community etiquette be our focus. How we act in the community, how we're doing things in the community, things like that, I think are important. Oh, you're very welcome. I just have to play around. It's not a bad ask. It's just TikTok, right? YouTube. That is something that even the FetLife would not even allow mention of, and rightfully so. So it's just sometimes learning how to dance around something that's getting asked, and we do our best. I don't think you're out of line for asking it because sadly I do know this happens. So I need to, so just as like a thinking out loud, one of the things that I was thinking about, like if I got, because I'm polyamorous, if I got a submissive who could be an editor, kind of like a secretary gig, that would be kind of fun and cool. And plus, it would get my stuff edited. I would probably still pay them for editing, give them a page rate, but I think it could be really fun to also kind of have that conversation. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else. In my mind, it makes a lot of sense. So, I keep forgetting this. South Florida sometimes involves the other coast in Florida. Um, like the movie, yes, Lady Letty, exactly. Have them, be the editor of my work, and if I don't like how they edited it, just walk out there. I mean, it would be a weird kind of crossing over, so it's like more fantasy than I think it could ever be fact. But I still find it interesting. Now, of course, the secretary had a lot of problematic stuff. There's no doubt about that. I was just gonna look something up, and I blanked. I hate when I have headaches. I'm stupider. What was I gonna look up? It wasn't the secretary. I do not remember now what I was gonna look up. Nope, I don't. I just don't have it. Sorry. Quickly gonna make sure that we're not missing anyone. Okay, it looks like no one's looking for us, which is great. So 2 years of this channel, we've done a lot of videos. If you guys want us to do another video or a special live about something, we're always for that. By the way, I also always am open to people wanting to have a conversation with me about the things that they want to talk about. It would help all the submissives out there, which is, I mean, I want to help everyone in our community, but of course, the submissives in our communities are always more vulnerable than the DOMs are. I mean, they're literally putting their ass on the line, aren't they? No pun intended. No cap, as the kids say, no cap. So, but yeah, if you guys want to ask questions, be part of the conversation, now is the time. Because it looks like no one really had a follow-up question about red flags, and that's perfectly valid. So we're going to open up the conversation to other topics. We are just about 30 minutes. If we don't get into a deeper conversation of some things, I'm not going to hold you guys to be part of this if we can't do it. If you want to be a guest on the show, we're going to open up the chats to that. YouTube will probably go live towards the end of the TikTok. So if TikTok has anyone that wants to come on and ask a question, now is the time. I'm going to give 10 minutes to TikTok, and if TikTok doesn't have anything to add to the conversations, we'll just move on, say goodnight, and then be part of only YouTube for the rest of the hour or the rest of the program. So we don't always have to do an hour. I've said this. And trying to see if we have anything on our Kink Educator channel worthy of conversation or to bring up, but I don't see anything. So, hello, everyone. You know, it's funny today. I think we're at. So I've been running the online courses now through this for a year as well. We started about a year trying to make these a little more constant and with method, and we've been doing programs for a year now every month. We've had one program every month, and I don't want to make any more indefinite ones. We try to go live as much as we can. You guys can subscribe, ask questions, and we'll always be here to answer. Remember, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll show all of you guys that we do have on yournewcomics.com the free PDFs for the Desire Index. And I'll put those up on stage. I gotta remove this first. There we go. So on Your New Comics, we have, we're gonna blow it up so everyone can see. We have one section divided and just meant towards me. This keeps some of our stuff available. We can't just come out and always say it's kink related because of Florida and some states' rules about it. So we call it the KADU stuff, which is kink education. K for kink, and then EDU is that. Right now, if you go on to that, the Mr. Anderson side, you'll see it right here. So now this is important. I want to kind of say this to all of you listening. All of you can hear me. Some people have asked me, do I need real information? Do I need your name? No. Do I need your email? No, I don't even need a real email. Do I need your home address? Of course I don't. You guys can use a fake sign-in because you can get this from directly the site, which was something I was pretty excited about, and I should be able to show you. All right, so I'm just going to quickly take this off the screen just because going to the cart, you can see in the cart that my address. So I've been doxxed enough this year. I don't want to dox myself. By the way, if you have trouble going to the cart, all right, I can show you right now. If you guys have trouble going to the cart, all you have to do is hit the cart image. I know the cart says cart and it doesn't always work, and I have not figured out why. But there we go, just showing you this. It'll come back in a second. I'm just going on to our next thing. And then you just go proceed to checkout. Notice it said $0. You don't have to do anything. This does have some of my personal information right here, but I'm not signed in, it would seem. So we can show this, and I don't have to worry about anyone seeing anything of my stuff, as far as I can tell. So, and here, I'll show you. Just JJ was here at yahoo.com. That's not a real email. First name J, last name J, address 34 Fart Avenue, city unknown, sure, and then zip code, and then we'll put another fake number, and then there. That's it. Now we place the order. Okay, and there you go. So all of these doesn't expire. You just click the links right over here, ladies and gentlemen. Just click them, and it will instantly download onto your device. These are set. By the way, these are set to be user friendly, and I think that should have popped up. Yes. So then, there it is. Your browser, Vanilla Curiosity. All free, 100%. All you got to do is download in the corner. Now, when you're on your phone, of course, it's going to go like this, and it's going to look a little more condensed. But it's right there. Just hit the download. So, how is everyone doing? Who's got a question? We've hit our half-an-hour mark. We're going to do a Q&A now. So, whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about. Red flags are something that are very personal. If you guys have a question about a red flag, that would be something that I'd be happy to address. Remember the free books. Now, while Vanilla Curiosity is as well free, the Desire Index is your starting point. That's if you meet someone. It's a good way to have a similar language, talk the same language with them, and it begins to build ideas that you can sit around and talk about. And then as you're building deeper, use the BDSM survey version 2.0 to really build that dynamic and have a lot of things together. So that's what I got for you tonight. I'm going to put myself back on camera. You guys haven't seen me in a minute. There we go. And we'll bring back up our feed too, just so you guys can see that we're actually on there. So we'll keep that there so I can see. Lady said, how do you accommodate communication and ADHD in a dynamic unless that is too personal? Are you asking how do I personally, or how I think it should be done, like in a teachable moment? Because I can answer for both, because I have severe ADHD. I am more than likely in the autistic spectrum, for those who don't know. So we'll start in, Letty said I could go either way. So let's start with me personally. I disclose that I'm neurodivergent, and I love the term neurodivergent. I hate when people say neurospicy. Neurospicy kind of takes away from neurodivergent, because when someone isn't quite sure what neurodivergent is, it's right there in the name. I'm neurodivergent. It means the way that your brain processes things, and the way it goes through its process, it's going through the highway. My brain takes the side roads. And because it takes the side roads, we might get to different ideas. The way we process it is different. I might see it differently. So I also have to tell my partners, hey, not only do I process things differently, but sometimes I'm unaware of my social behavior. Most of the time when we have a game night, the first thing I say in the car with my partner on the way home is generally, did I fuck up tonight? Did I say something I shouldn't? I don't always understand it. It's a big struggle. I'm dyslexic, and this is like dyslexic with language and not being able to understand it. And I have dysgraphia, and for those of you who have been with me for a while and watched these shows, know that sometimes I stumble on my words. So I explain to my partner all of these things. And sometimes, especially when I get flustered, I have trouble getting out what I want to say. Not exactly like Porky Pig, but I trip on my words, and I'm trying to think out loud and how to do this without being offensive, offending someone. And it's a lot to be in front of, especially a camera, but even on a personal level, it's sometimes worse because I know that I have to be on my best behavior. And usually we have the rule that I don't go more than an hour, because after an hour, the guard starts coming down, the mask goes away. I do try to mask a little bit. I try to act a certain way to reach a broader audience. I'm never lying or saying things I wouldn't normally say. I'm just more professional. I'm the manager. I'm not the kink person. Now, in a dynamic, this goes under your health. Health, medical history. When we're going back and forth, and you just disclose it, you have the conversation with your partner. So, are there things I need to be aware of? Are there things that you need from me? Sometimes with even negotiation, speaking of accommodations, with negotiation, sometimes someone needs to be able to read something, look it up on Google. If your partner has any reading disabilities like dyslexia, being patient is so important, so valuable. So it's a great question. I love it. And yeah, that it's just opening up about it. Understanding that your partner, if they're neurodivergent, might get overstimulated. That means sometimes their skin might feel away. Sometimes they're just overwhelmed by a noise, overwhelmed by a smell. And sometimes they won't always know this until it happens. We've talked about triggers a lot. Triggers just happen to people, and they're not even sure where they came from, or sometimes that they're even there. And it can happen just once, but at least you know further than that. So if you are an individual who has been triggered before, it is probably best to take a minute and write down what triggered you, so you can share that with other partners in the future. Even if it's a small little, this only happened once, have it written down. Know it's there and communicate that with your partners. Closing thoughts on the neurodivergent partner, things that you should know. It doesn't make them less of a good partner. It doesn't make them less trustworthy. You just have to work with them. Remember, people with ADHD especially have hyperfocus. A lot of people on the autistic spectrum have that. They are sometimes brutally honest without meaning to be brutally honest. Social cues are often missed in public. I constantly, one of the things I never realized was when I would be being flirted with if it wasn't obvious. And that has a lot to do with, I just think people are being nice to me. It's kind of sad that we live in a world where someone just being nice to me means they're instantly flirting with me, and I can't put my brain into that gear, because then there'd be a lot more people flirting with me than I think they actually are, and I'll never trust it. So I wait for someone to make it very clear and very obvious, and as just a person, to make sure I don't get it wrong, because when I was younger, I thought someone who was being nice to me was, in fact, trying to flirt with me. I now tell people, hey, I think you're interesting. I would like to get you to know you better, more beyond friendship. And if someone tells me, well, I'm not really looking for that, oh, that's perfectly fine. Thank you for your honesty. And I move on. Doesn't mean I won't be friendly with them. Of course, you want to be friendly. See, ADHD moment. I saw this out of the corner of my mind, and I was like, oh, it'd be a good time in the middle of a live to do that. My partner would be shaking their head if they were here tonight for this. So, does anyone else have another question? That was a great question, by the way. Fully open. Ask me anything about kink, and if I can answer it, I will answer it. Maybe I didn't have enough caffeine today because I'm starting to feel better. Love the content, says K Kelly 640. Thank you, K Kelly 640. Make sure that you're having the ability to get informed by us. That bell on top of the profile for me, it's a notification bell. Make sure it's set to all, or you'll miss the next time we're on live potentially. Because that bell, when it's set to personalized, it gives what TikTok thinks you want. But if you go down a rabbit hole, suddenly that's all you get for a few weeks. But when you hit the all button, you get everything you want. If you're over on the YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe so you can see us when we go live again. Wednesday nights are the nights. Usually I'll tell you guys, but next Wednesday we're going to have a big one. I'm kind of excited about this. I want to talk about community behavior. I'm having a whole conversation this weekend twice, one in person, one in a physical space in my local slice of the community, which I run. And we're going to be talking about vetting, and it would be great to also have the conversation with a lot of people of the expectations, because we don't do that in vetting. A lot of times in vetting, people try to hide it behind someone's back. Not me. I let them know I'm looking at you, and then I tell them what I see. And some people are very taken back, like the whole showing off your manhood in a picture. It's 2025. No one likes it. For the most part, it is one of those things that's a huge red flag. We'll probably wind up adding that in. Anyone who messages you and hits on you immediately, that's one of the ones that we'll be adding. And that's community behavior. Maybe we'll do a red flag just for community behavior. I actually like that one. I'm going to write that down. Now, we've been trying to talk about green and yellow flags. I think a lot of people are a little nervous to establish green flags or yellow flags. I think red flags are just easier for everyone, because yellow is confusing and green is, well, I wouldn't even register it. They're still talking to me. That's what they get. Would you ever consider making IP certificate courses for breath or rope? Making IP certification? What do you mean by IP? Intellectual property certification courses? The short answer is I will never give out a degree, a certification, a piece of paper that says you had gone to my class. If I were to do something like that, it would definitely be an invite only, and it would be such a small circle that I assure you I would know who went. And if someone did want to double check with me, they could do that. The reason I don't want to put out a certification for someone, because certifications are a weird thing, is that just because I give someone a certification doesn't mean I understand what they've actually learned. I had actually debated making a test to enter my community, but that was a problem, because everyone was like, no one's going to want to sit around and be part of that. And I was like, all right, fuck it. What do I know? But it would have gotten rid of a few people, I'll tell you that. But that's why I do these things. This event, this Friday and then Sunday, is because I heard a lot of complaining that I gatekeep, which I don't. I safeguard. There's a difference. I'm trying to keep bad people out, to keep the people inside safe, not keep people out because we don't want new people, but we want the right people. It's safeguarding. Yellow flags can be person to person. Red flags are more likely to be universal. I do agree with that. But then you have, like, here's a perfect one. And we were talking about this a little earlier, and we'll talk about it now. I go to a community event, right? That doesn't mean I've given consent to have anything done that you wouldn't do. I feel like a lot of times, especially to munch, you're in a vanilla setting. Vanilla kind of behavior should constantly be there. What do I mean by that? Someone standing up and be like, oh, you freaks, all you deviants. No. Why? Like, you're not funny. I know you think you're funny, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's not funny to be name called. I don't know you that well. It's my first day. It's also the people who, here's a red flag for like an event person. I could do red flags for events actually really well. Someone who calls out the new people in the room, especially if they look young. How do they do that? Who's new to the community? Oh, what's your name? Where do you live? What are you into? Too much paying attention to that. Coyote. You know, that name is so used in newsroom, and I can't believe I can't say it. Oh man. Here's the nerd of urgency. Quixote. I'm gonna go with Quixote. I'm sorry if it's wrong. Do you have problems getting people in the door at your local community, assuming you vet people before events? I do screening calls for my local dungeon, and people call 10 minutes before it starts. Q is fine. We'll go with Q. Thank you. So do I have problems getting people in the door? No, I'm lucky enough that I've gotten, but we don't have a play party. So most of our stuff has been done in a public venue. I've actually turned away more people per event than I have allowed. We have a game night, which I very much safeguard. The educational, like, I have kept the numbers of the community down very low. However, as we have built an ability to trust each other in the community, we're allowing the members to kind of do the vetting for us and bring people that they want to bring with them. And I think that's probably a great way to go about it, honestly. But like you, I have people RSVPing and trying to get access to the events as the event is going on. Now, I want to share a few things that are red flag moments. So I set all my stuff so you can't see who's going. That recently changed on FetLife, by the way. You have to go out of your way to make sure that's off. It used to be if it was a private request-only event, no one could see it. They changed that setting. Some bullshit. Make sure you're looking. And it's in the settings section. So you have to launch it and then fix it. It's not on the initial thing. So you got to be very, very careful about that. So then when you reset it and everything's cool, everything's great, then you want to put it into a section of approve, not approve if you're trying to build your community. Lucky enough, because we're not driving any play parties, we don't have to worry about money. We've been gracious enough to find places to be part of. We're going to be going back to my local town center / mall. We did have the cops looking at us heavy last time, so this will be interesting going back to the scene of the crime, as it were. We don't have as long a thing. I do try to keep my classes down a little bit more. I do screenings through events, so that's basically the idea. So I'm doing an event this weekend so we can screen people, so I know who to accept in the future. And usually that effort, like people who want to just show up, they sometimes are scanning who's going. It's that, oh, this hot girl's going to be there. Well, I'm going to go. And then that's a problem because I don't want, what I'm creating is about community. I want to create community events. I am not creating things that are just, I'm going to get laid tonight events. And I recently had what seems to be a very nice human being reach out to me, ask to be part of an event. And I kind of reached back out to him and I'm like, hey, we don't really allow people with this kind of stuff. When something comes up, I'll send it to you. So then I send him to it, and it's an educational event. And I'm like, you could meet us here at this. And they're like, well, I'm not really into BDSM. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, thank you for being honest. They messaged me back later. Oh, but I just want to make friends. And I was like, what you don't understand is that this community is not looking for people just looking to make friends with people who are vanilla, who want to be friends with people in BDSM. Nicely, I think this person's under the misguided idea that it's easier to get satisfaction, as the Rolling Stones would say, from the community. It's not. It's usually harder. The people who are worth knowing and getting to know, they know enough to know not to let everyone in. By the way, I'm going to put this up here. By the way, I do point to you if people aren't ready to go into the dungeon. I appreciate that. Thank you. And a lot of people aren't ready. Like their first exposure. I think one of the harder things is when you see a new couple. Well, not a new couple, but like a couple newly into BDSM is what I'm trying to say. Show up to a dungeon and they're like all over the place. Oh my God, can I ask you what you're doing? And you literally have your partner suspended and you're trying to interact, engage. Let's put engage. With impact play, and the last thing you want to do is be paying attention to anyone but your partner. And it's always these people, I didn't know I couldn't take pictures. The fuck you didn't? Like, really, you're coming here. Does anyone go into your bedroom? And BDSM is not inherently sexual, ladies and gentlemen. But this is a bedroom activity. It's something that we should not be doing in public. And I fully understand why people get so upset about the Folsom Street Fair because it's so out in the public view nowadays. So we have to be mindful of that. While we're not inherently sexual, we are certainly not meant to be displayed in front of vanilla audiences, especially anyone under the age of 18. It's definitely a fine line to work as someone who creates comic books and sells them at all different Comic Cons, including books for kids. But I know how to do it. I walk the line. My pitches are solid. We even changed fetish to desires. The newer banners I'll make when Comic Cons decide to stop being as expensive as taking a space ride, then I might repost my banners. But for now, I'm good. So we are down to the last 10 minutes, believe it or not. We can go longer on YouTube. people have more questions and all that. But if you are on TikTok and you want to be part of a longer conversation, because we could do at least 10 extra bonus minutes, please move over to YouTube. The YouTube is Kink Educator, same as it is here on TikTok. Kay has got something for us. I find that the vetting, I'm thinking you mean the vetting, not venting. The vetting classes are great to have, and now I would love to go to a dungeon. I've never done the dungeon thing, but been to an adult theater and glory hole. Okay. Best way to find that, honestly, Kay, is to go to the FetLife, which I'm pretty sure you found this program on. Go to the local groups in your area, see what people are talking about, what's safe, what's not safe. Be very careful of events that can't be seen by people who are invited, because sometimes those are very dangerous, especially if you're female presenting. People are not great human beings sometimes, and that's very sad. You have to be on the watch for that. And of course, look for the local parties, the dungeons. I would suggest going to a couple munches, so when you get there, you don't feel very awkward. I've always been the wallflower in communities. When I show up, I go to events. More people seek me out. They want to know, especially if I'm around for a while. They'll come up curiously and ask me about who I am, what I'm doing. I kind of freak people out, I think, sometimes. I'm told I have that cop look about me. So, but yeah, I mean, go for it, man. I'll tell you this. There are times I have gone to events not to play, but just to be around the sounds, the smells, and seeing the sights that I can see. It's pretty amazing that way. Does anyone else have any other questions from our TikTok? As time is literally ticking away. I was going to say talking away, but that didn't land. I want to thank everyone who's been part of tonight. You guys have been awesome. TikTok will just tell her we have 0 views as usual. For some reason lately, we've been getting, no matter how many people are on. We had a show the other day, had 15 people on with me live. So I get the little indicator, says I get it on here. We've had 6 to 8 people at times, sometimes as little as 2 or 3. But we do the show. The show is important. We want to make sure that we're giving the education we can, and we love doing it. But I'll get off of the TikTok, and suddenly it'll be 0. 0 people watched. I'm like, I talk to people. Am I going insane? That's crazy. We had a recent live that I got. It was over 10,000 likes. 10,000 likes. Nothing. I got the report for it after. It was nothing. Lady, I will make sure to pass that message along to the Emmer. Kay says, I watched the first time I went to an event, but learned about a few of the other kinks. So really quickly, for those who are going to your first events, it's really simple. Keep your hands to yourself. Don't ask questions of people engaged into things. Wait until people aren't touching each other or involved in anything. Usually on the side, just chilling, and always go up respectfully and go, can I ask you something? Never take a picture. And if you're going to talk to someone that you go with, make sure to keep your voice down. You do not want to be a commentary team, especially because in this lifestyle, it will not be done or taken nicely, especially if you're saying rude shit. I had someone say something about the ropes I was tying. Now, we were trying to have a quick scene, and my partner wasn't feeling great in the day. And so I wanted to be able to untie them, and I didn't tie them so they couldn't get out. It was meant to be like a really quick scene. They weren't feeling great. So we were trying to do it very quickly. And I can do the pretty rope, but I'm better at the faster ropes. Faster ropes don't always come out very pretty. And I know that, and I'm fine with that. And I'm very happy that my not so nice ropes, which is actually what shibari means, by the way. If you don't know shibari, the actual term is meant for quick rope, but everyone couldn't say kambuke, and I still can't say it well, is the fancier rope. Neither here nor there, but just an interesting fact for you all. But yeah, so the bigger point I'm trying to make here is that you just want to be super chill. And just don't be a creep if you're a guy. Please don't be a creep. That means not having your manhood on display for your profile picture. It creeps people out. I'm not saying that you can't have it, But like the guys who are sitting there holding it like it's a flashlight and they're looking for something in the sky, it's not impressive to anyone. It's really not. Your little ding-a-ling is not going to bring the people to the yard. No one cares about your little ding-a-ling. And it's aggressive and it's weird because that's not what anyone wants to see. And by the way, that goes in reverse for the women's downstairs department in the front, especially. Like that feels like a lot sometimes if that's your profile picture. If it's a play picture, if you're posting things within play that are kinky, that's absolutely fine. TikTok, FetLife is not a dating site, nor is it your icky show anything about your body site. And vanilla posts, please don't post vanilla if you don't have to on TikTok. I have Facebook for that shit. I don't need it for FetLife. I go to FetLife for fetish things. I don't go to Facebook just to generally see people posting fetish pictures. I like when it happens, but that's not why I'm there. In reverse, I don't need to see a picture of your pets. And you're not even allowed technically because of the question earlier today about that. Well, a lot of people think that our lifestyle is about the ding-a-ling, and it is not about the ding-a-ling. And it is not that all women are submissive and all women are easier in the lifestyle and all this misconception. That's a vanilla flag. We should do that. Vanilla flags. How to tell someone's a vanilla or canilla person when they do things. Like the people who show off just their manhood and they don't have anything else in their profile. They don't tell you the things they're into. Because we all know if you're into something, you want it on your profile so you can send that signal to other people. It's one of the hardest things in this lifestyle is connecting with people who share the same interests. So Kay says, yes, do that. So we are at 54 minutes. So we're going to give you 5 more minutes on TikTok. Let us know on TikTok if you guys have another question. I want to thank everyone for being part of this. I do want to mention this number again one last time. It's 1-800-799-SAFE 7233. It is still operational from my understanding. I don't call it to test it. That is a domestic abuse hotline. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you want to understand things better and you need a third party that is okay with talking even about kink, there are people there that understand kink and will help you through it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great show, and I appreciate you all coming on in. I can't stick around, says Rish Modern Life. Ria, sorry, it was too far away. My dyslexia got me today, but I followed. I appreciate that. I think we're going to close off our TikTok. We're going to give it 10 minutes extra here on the YouTube. So you guys meet over on the YouTube, same name, Kink Educator, and we can actually talk like adults once this goes off. So if you want to hear a more unfiltered me and a more honest me without having to dance around words, well, that's the place to go. Ria says, looking for books or sites for more education, go to kaducampus.com. On there, you'll find a link to the the free Desire Index and BDSM survey. Great places to start. Also, my Barbara Unleashed series is available for just $3. $3 for 3 books. It's $1 each, and you get the BDSM survey and a lot more with that. So I appreciate that, and I'd appreciate your opinion if you download it. The Desire Index and the BDSM survey, by the way, are absolutely free. Thank you, Lady Letty. All right, guys, I got to sign off over here on the TikTok. We will continue on YouTube. See you over there, and if not, I'll see you at the next live. Oh, thank fucking God. I'm telling you, it's so hard to be on and talking about that, like some of the questions, and thank you for the follow. It is so hard to sometimes have these conversations while on TikTok because there's so many follow-ups I could do. And is there a way you can send that link in someone's inbox? You mean on FetLife inbox? Yeah, sure. I could absolutely send a link. Just send me a message. Just ask. I am one of those creators with this. I don't care how busy. And look, by the way, remember I was telling you guys about the 0 thing? Look at that. You saw me all talking to people. 0 views. This is their new bullshit. It's a way that they don't have to pay me, yet I'm generating about 10,000 views on lives a month. Last month we had 10,000 views. We didn't get a single penny for it. They're supposedly changing their terms of service. We'll see what happens. They just can't stop the signal. Yeah, just send me a message and I'll send you. Just be like, if you're looking for the Kadu books, just tell me you just wanted the free education ones. I'll send you that link. I could send you. We have an entire section on the actual website, which I can put in here since you guys are all listening anyway. I'll put in for the website, by the way. It's yournewcomics.com. Under the Mr. Anderson partition, you'll find that. I wonder if I should do a Kink Educator partition. Also, might not be a bad idea just to make a page that's the Kink Educator. Would not take me terribly long. And then just make it for the Kinky books as like a hidden thing. But I mean, all my books can be like, I just might do Kink Educator. But for now, I'm going to send you the partition link in the comments. So hopefully, I think this stays after I go off air and goes to the YouTube. I'm hoping it used to, but I know StreamYard just did a bunch of updates, so I don't know if that changed. And I'm going to give you guys the free. Here it is. All right. And there it is. And that's the end. So where are we at time-wise? All right. Does anyone else have any other questions? I see that we've gone down to just 2 people, and that's cool. I'm not a fan of keeping people on alive just for me to hit some sort of benchmark. If we've gotten to the end of the conversation, I am so happy about having this conversation today with you all. I guess when I'm in the full background, you guys can see my poor dinosaur is laying down. My Jurassic Park one. I wasn't allowed to sleep in beds with it anymore because I crushed Stuffies apparently. So the Stuffies are safe over on the island behind me with the comic books. I'm going to give it one more minute. If anyone else has another question, I'm going to answer it for all of you. I'm going to quickly check to make sure that no one sent me anything on the FetLife about this event, because I'll just tell them that it's pre-recorded. Like now it can be there all the time, all the happiness. There we go. Oh, I'm getting a whole bunch of things. All right. Let me see, is this anything important? Okay. No. And one last check. Check, 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 check. Checkity, check, check. Check, check. Okay. So let's see what you guys got for me. Happy to actually be able to learn about more stuff about the lifestyle. For me, I was lucky enough to grow up in New York City, but I've always wanted education of this to be readily available, which is why I've dedicated so much of my time, over 4,000 videos on Kink alone. On the TikTok channel, we got different menus. If you ever have a question, I don't care if I've recorded it 10 times, I'll answer the question. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to take my leave. If you guys have nothing else for me, I want to thank everyone who was part of it, K and Q. For those who are curious, you guys can find out more at KaduCampus.com. You can get the free comics. We have them in the comments section right now. If you want anything more from me, you can find me on the FetLife at Kink Educator. We're here on YouTube, TikTok, all Kink Educator, even Blue Sky. Facebook's the only place that we can't get away with that, but even on Twitter or X, I still call it Twitter. I want to thank you all for being part of this. I appreciate you all. Another one in the books, and I'm thankful to have met some of you for the first time and others of you being able to hang out with you this evening. Thank you and good night. And we can actually read our outro here because we're on the TikTok. The YouTube, not the TikTok. BDSM is not inherently sexual. It is mental. We communicate, we negotiate, we conversate about the risk profiles, play profiles, safety protocols, medical history, aftercare needs, and so much more. And using the new acronym, needs, expectations, want, we begin to build our dynamics and begin to engage pens, because we use a pen to write our dynamics out. That pen is protocols engaged via negotiation. And of course, you want negotiation just as a throw in without coercion, very important. And that's how we build our dynamics and our scenes. Make sure to add garage time and or porch time, an ability to talk to someone outside of the dynamic and the roles that are within and the confines that sometimes those roles can have. Talk human to human. And remember, consent is always revocable. So even if you have it and you've been given it and you're empowered by it and we can share dominance and submission with each other, remember, it can always be removed for any reason. And if we follow all this and we do our partners justice, we don't lie, we support each other, we will all reap the benefits of a dynamic, negotiated, and consented to. Let's all be rewarded and treat people how we want to be treated. With that, I say good evening, and we'll see you next week where we're going to talk about community behavior. Good night, my Kinksters.